Hello, welcome to Topper Machine. I'm Josh Topper, and today we have a special guest that's in the shop with us. My friend Kyle from Vanover Customs.
What's going on?
Kyle's here. He's come to tear into my boring mill and figure out what he needs for his. He's got a, what do you got, a 441 B72?
72, yep.
So just a little bit bigger than my 48 here, but they're basically the same machine. So he's gonna tear into it and figure out what parts are missing from his or what parts are missing from both of ours.
That's true,
So,
very true.
All right, Kyle, so what do you need here? What's going on and what's different between our machines?
Yeah, so great question. So basically on my machine, and if you guys have been following along, we've been rebuilding several parts on the inside of this turn slide, I think is what they call it. And one of the last parts we got to remake or repair is this housing or bracket or whatever we want to call it, because several teeth have chipped off. Now we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but these are cast iron. This whole piece is cast iron. And so what I want to do is, I was missing the inner gear for this planetary, and I want to take Josh's apart to see if it's the same design, because there are a slight variation between designs. And if it is, we can go ahead and measure that missing gear and confirm that the tooth count is the same.
All right, well, let's get this thing apart.
Let's do it.
All right, so I already backed the set screw off here. And it looks like it's just spin this out, pull the whole assembly off.
This is the first time we're seeing this, so we'll get to see how worn out Josh is compared to mine.
I hope not.
Oh, okay. Oh, the gear is in there. This is really helpful to me.
Wow, that's actually quite clean.
Yes, that is looking good.
Yeah. Cool.
Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that gear out. We're going to measure it. We're going to figure out what pitch it is, how many teeth are on it. Is there a snap ring holding that, or is it just?
I can't
tell.
There might be.
It's hard to tell.
Get in there and clean it up,
Yeah,
get
all
some
right.
light on it. So while we're in there, I'm gonna just try to get this pin out, if I can make it move. Maybe have to go get a punch. I'm gonna do this the dumb way.
Okay, there it goes.
There we go.
Okay, now should be a plunger in there.
course,
Oh, should we
Probably
went out the wrong
went the
way.
wrong way. Well, maybe not.
Okay, this is different than mine. I like this. This is relieved here. So, okay, so this is a lot of data for me. This is good.
All right, I gotta go find a magnet.
Okay, that should come out, and then there should be a spring that's behind that, which come on, little buddy, where are you?
Jeez.
Can
Well,
you
do
see
I
it?
need to get the spring or?
No, you don't need to get the spring.
So this should just come out then.
Yes, it should slide out. There's a keyway and then that, yeah. And it doesn't even need to come out all the way technically. There it is. Okay, let me think, what's there? That keyway isn't captured. Oh, you know what, it's not gonna come out all the way because these holes, oh, yours is different than mine. Okay, it's not gonna come out all the way, but, so I led you astray. But if we can just answer this question, this is all I need to know.
Oh, okay.
So the way mine works is there are 5 or 6 holes, and then you screw through the holes, and you're screwing onto a clutch. So you have to screw, there's 2 dogs, right? And when you push that in, the dogs engage and disengage. That's how that's what that thumb wheel is doing.
Okay.
It's kind of confusing because there's multiple sliding parts. But anyway, the point is that unless we remove those screws, it's not going to come apart. And we don't need to tear it down that far. I just want to know what size gear that is. That's all I need.
Okay, well then I can put this back and then try to push the pin back through.
Yeah, you'll just, I used a longer screwdriver, but.
Yeah.
But at least we didn't have to tear down your machine super far, which is good.
There it goes.
Yeah, you just gotta work it.
It started. We use a hammer wrench.
Oh, the hammer wrench. Oh, there it is. It's good.
There it is.
Perfect. All right, here we go. We can count them. I think it's the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it is 16 tooth.
So that's the gear you printed, 3D
Yep.
printed to ensure that it was right.
And it is.
And it sure looks good on diameter.
Yep.
Looks a little thin though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't have a measurement on the height. So, okay, so it looks like we can step this up. I did a 700 thou gear. This looks like a 750 maybe. We'll measure
Yeah.
that. I was guessing because I didn't have any access to this gear, obviously. Okay, cool.
So then that gear meshes with the other half of this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and I honestly, when I was laying in bed last night and when I was thinking about this, I think I'm going through a lot of work for nothing. Because I think all this does is just run this to trip out the feeds. That's, I think, all that gear does.
Yes.
Which is why...
It is also a readout. There's a scale on it.
Yep,
So that tells you your distance, but if you're doing, something else, it doesn't matter.
right.
I mean, 90% of the time I'm running off the
Table.
third axis
and
on
a
the
DRO
saddle.
or
So,
whatever. Yeah, exactly. So I thought that I was losing functionality by having this piece missing in mine, but I realized, you know what, I think it's just there for turning, because
To turn that dial.
the only way I learned that is I was watching a video on an auction where they were showing the machine running, and when he was turning the spindle out under power feed, this wheel was turning really slow. And so I realized, because there's a trip out here, is this ratio is a known factor, and it knows that when this makes a full rotation, it trips this out, it keeps it from overfeeding and interfeeding. Which is
Okay.
good that I know that now, but I probably could have just done without, having to remake all these parts. But
Yeah.
you
Well,
live and you learn.
Well, now we know what the inside of mine looks like.
There you go.
All right, let's get this thing back together then.
Cool.
Well, that should have answered all your questions, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of, well, that's unnecessary anyway.
Yep.
But
It's only for the trip out. So if you're
Yeah.
not using that, you don't really need it.
that and the scale that's
And the scale.
on here, which if you're doing a digital readout,
I
there's
don't
my
need.
point.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, do you have other questions about the machine? Or?
Yeah, so since I'm here, I figured I'd ask you, because Josh is an expert on this Lucas, and me, I am not. So the first thing is on my machine, you guys probably know this, but my oil sight doesn't have any pressure. Now I've went in there and rebuilt the pumps, but I'd love to know how much pressure is supposed to be when the machine is operating. So,
I get about 18 pounds.
okay, 18 pounds.
She'll sit, yeah, right about 18.
Okay, so that's good to know. And then while we're here, I know you also talked about you have an issue with a bearing on your machine, and I may be getting into that. So where is that bearing and what is that noise?
It's that vertical shaft.
right here?
Yep, the bearings are right under the cover. There's 2 bearings under there.
Okay,
And there's just, from what I've noticed, is lack of lubrication. The way they're
Okay.
designed, they don't get lubrication.
so it's a growling sound?
Yep.
And you know that it's there? Okay.
Yep, oh, it's loud. If you listen to some of my other videos, you'll hear it. And
All right.
It's worse in one direction than the other.
Okay, interesting.
But
Okay.
yeah, every Lucas I've ever ran has that same issue.
Okay.
So it's a common problem. It's just something that needs to be tore into.
So we may be digging into some of that fun here
Yeah, on your
coming
channel.
up. On my channel,
Yeah, and then when you're done with that, you're the expert. You come do mine.
There we go. So maybe I'll be back to do that. Let's see. Overall, what do you think about this machine?
Love it.
Yeah?
I wouldn't be without it. I wish it were a little bit bigger, but it's still a good size for a small shop. And I've done some really interesting stuff on it over the years. So I'm glad I bought it when I bought it, and it's definitely not been a regret, any bit of owning it.
So you're saying that the bigger 6x6, I should be well suited for a lot of work.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and I
yeah.
got
You
the
shouldn't have
50
any
taper
problems.
spindle too, so that'd be nice.
Yeah, you've got the nice 50 taper. I've got the 6 Morse taper, so
Okay.
tooling's a little harder for me to find, but
Okay.
definitely, like I said, it's been a great machine. Once you get yours all tuned up,
Yeah.
you should
awesome.
be happy with it.
And I'm here, I know, you guys don't notice this when you're watching Josh's videos, but being able to compare his machine to my machine, his is in way better shape. It's probably hard to see on camera, but he has all the original flaking on the column, and he still has some flaking on the ways, which is awesome. My machine's completely gone of flaking, and obviously, it didn't have any oil pressure and 100 other issues, but this machine is really in great shape, and it's really nice to see something, even though the paint may be gone, but seeing it in person to see what a good example is pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate when I found this machine. When I saw it and just looked it over quick, it's like, wow.
So was this an auction or?
No, this came out of Stillwater, Minnesota. It was
okay.
The guy that had it, he restores old cars. He buys cars from overseas. He had, in his shop, he had the 1914 Grand Prix winning engine.
Oh, wow.
From Europe.
Oh, wow.
And then next to that, he had Kaiser Wilhelm's personal limousine.
Dang.
From Germany, a Mercedes limo, open driver compartment limo. So really cool stuff. And he buys these cars, makes the patterns, casts new parts, and then machines them.
Okay.
And he sold the Lucas to buy honestly, think it might have been a Shibura.
A Shibura, okay.
So a bigger, slightly newer boring mill, but he did everything on this Lucas.
Okay, cool. Well, I am super excited to get my machine up and running. I know I got a bunch of jobs that I've been doing on my horizontal mill that would be way better suited on this machine. So I'm happy to get mine up and running. But while we're here, I know you guys love machinery. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a walk around Josh's shop and we're gonna talk about the different machines that he has, and I'll ask him questions and we can kind of get an idea of which machines he likes, what good and bad of each machine. So let's go ahead and take a look at another machine.
Yeah, and those of you watching my channel, our videos will be kind of overlapping, but
yeah.
We'll give you a lot of the detail that you probably haven't gotten yet on some of the machines.
All right, very cool. So what's the first machine?
Well, the one everybody seems to be in love with.
The planer?
The planer.
All right, let's take a look at that planer. All right, Josh, so tell us a little bit about this planer mill.
So this is an American Toolworks 8-foot planer that I bought at an auction. It was actually scrap, but the owner of the company that had it had done the modifications, put a mill head on it, put this DC drive and everything on it. They were using it for drilling large frames for a machine they built.
Okay.
And when I got it, the mill head was gone, but everything was here, except the controls weren't mounted like I have them here with a pendant control.
Okay.
There was a box down here, a box here, another box back there, and you had to run, all three of them had, actually there was 4 boxes. You had a switch in each one for different functions, and it was just unusable. So I kind of consolidated everything into this nice box here on a pendant so you can swing it out of the way. But I've got just over 8 feet of travel.
Okay.
In fact, there's a milling job coming up that I'll be filming where I'm going to mill 8 foot 6 inches of 4140 annealed.
Oh, wow.
So a repeat job that I did a few years back. So it's a wear part for a local mill.
Awesome.
So, but yeah, it's just a 1J Bridgeport head on here. I've got 3-axis digital readout. This thing has been an amazing machine.
Okay.
Makes a lot of money for the shop.
That's awesome. One question I did have is, when you're milling long pieces like this, what's warpage like?
What I've measured on this, I've got about a 5 thou dip.
Okay.
So it does very well.
Okay, and the spring back of the material isn't too bad?
Well, it depends on the material.
Okay.
Hot rolled doesn't have as much, but a cold rolled, like this 4140, will bow quite a bit.
So do you pre-shim it when you machine it? Or
I clamp it tight to the table.
And then if it springs, that's fine? Customers aware?
They are clamping it into an assembly and welding it, so
okay.
It's not an issue.
Cool.
Yeah, everybody else who's ever done it in the past before I started doing that job has had that problem too. So.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, no, they said don't waste your time straightening it because we're just going to clamp it in and weld it. So.
Perfect. Cool. All right, on to the next machine.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, what are we looking at here? This machine looks pretty familiar to me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're copying my shop, aren't you?
I am copying your shop. I have multiple of the same piece of equipment.
So this is my Carlton 1A 4-foot radial arm drill. This is another one of those things that a lot of people say you can't make money with a radial drill. They're not worth the floor space. Those people don't know what they're doing. These things are very profitable. There's so much you can do with them. This is one of those pieces that I don't use it a lot, but when I do, it pays, buckets of money.
Absolutely.
It's definitely one of those profitable pieces you have to have in the shop.
Absolutely.
If you know how to use it. That's the key.
Yep.
You don't just use them for drilling holes. There's so many things you can do with them.
I'll tell you, my favorite thing about this machine is the tapping feature. So I love watching flex arm videos as much as the next guy, but you don't need a flex arm when you have a Carlton radial drill. I have done so many tapping jobs with this because on mine, I have a knob up here, which I don't see on yours. Does yours have that?
No.
I have a knob that I can tighten, and basically when I bring the spindle down, it'll run the tap down, and then when I bump it, it pulls it back out, and it makes tapping super efficient.
Yeah, I just reverse.
Okay.
Real simple.
What's one job that you do on here that's not drilling that, makes this machine sort of pay for itself?
Oh, God. I don't even know. There's so many different things. I honestly can't think of any off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've done anything with it.
On my machine, I actually use this for a line boring job, which, I don't know that I'd necessarily recommend, but if you pull up the catalog on these things, they show that they did use these for line boring, so you can do it. So they are pretty versatile machines.
Yeah, I thought about line boring with it a couple times, but when you got a boring mill.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the point?
My boring mill was down and I had this running, so
yeah,
went ahead and used this guy.
I don't know if you probably saw the video, and everybody else probably did, but I made that big extension table for this thing that's back there, and did that AR plate.
Yes.
Nobody else in the region was able to do that.
Yep, just because the size probably, and AR sucks. And
yeah, there was a guy locally who said he could do it with a mag drill, and that did not work. So, now I get that job on a regular basis.
That's good. It's a great machine.
Yep.
Though I do notice your table has probably seen a little bit better days there.
Yeah, not a one of those is from me.
I completely believe that. People are ridiculous.
Yep.
Okay.
Move on to my favorite machine.
Take a look at Josh's favorite machine. All right, Josh, what are we looking at here? A lot of people don't know what these are.
They're kind of rare. This is my Maury vertical shaper, or slaughter as a lot of people know them. Pratt & Whitney was a manufacturer. Let's see, who else? You looked at a Rockford.
Yeah, Rockford makes one. They have a hydraulic unit that's pretty popular, a 36, a 24, and even a 48.
And this, all it is a shaper, but in a vertical fashion, and I use this for keyways, precise internal keyways. One job that I do quite often is a internal keyway, roughly 1 inch. They're plus or minus, we have different sizes, but they're usually plus 1 thou minus 0 on the width, and then 10.5 inches of length. So it's a kind of a hard one to hit.
Sure.
And I get that job on a repeat basis. There's quite a few of those a year we do. Nobody else can hit that tolerance.
Sure.
And then what is it? A plus or minus 3 thousandths off center too.
Oh wow.
So it's a tight tolerance on this part that I do. I do have a video of that, but it's just a shaper. That's all it is. But in the other fashion, vertical.
And I know you guys may not be able to see this, but because I'm up close on this machine, I didn't really notice this in the videos, but this machine is in excellent condition. We have all the factory flaking down here on the knee or whatever, even though it's not a knee, over here on the table, and even up here on the ram. It really is beautiful. This machine has a ton of life left in it, and it's really just in beautiful shape. Yeah,
this thing was bought new in 42, and I'm trying to see here, built for Northern Pump. They were in Fridley, Minnesota, and they decommissioned it, found it to be, you know, bean counters got a hold of it and said, oh, this thing's useless.
Sure.
Sold it to one of their machinists, and then within a few weeks, he was bringing home work from work to do on this machine because they made a mistake. So, and then I bought it off of their estate, or his estate. So the family was just happy to see it go to a good home that's going to use it.
Yeah, pretty interesting story. You moving this thing, huh?
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
We had a few little incidences, and it's 8 feet tall, and we took it out through a 7-foot garage door.
Wow.
That was interesting.
I'm not even going to ask about that. That sounds interesting.
It was so tight the way we did it that you couldn't slip a dollar bill between the top of the machine and the doorway.
Wow, that's crazy.
But we got it out of there.
So why is this your favorite machine? I've heard you say that multiple times.
It's just fun to run. It's fun. It's, I don't know, something about a shaper.
Yeah, very melodic. Okay, well, let's take a look at the next machine.
All right, this is my AV #2 sensitive drill. And it's just a nice big table, a 24 by 36 table on this thing. All it is a #3 Morse taper quill. Just a basic machine, but it's wired with this foot pedal that reverses the spindle. So I do use it for tapping for small stuff, repeat stuff. It's quick, it's easy. It's a gear drive, 2-horse machine. I bought this at an auction in Mora, Minnesota, from a guy who wasn't much older than I am now, who his health wouldn't allow him to do the job anymore. So he closed up his shop, and it's definitely been a very good asset here in the shop. You know, it's one of the things I absolutely hate is drilling holes, and you know, between this and the Carlton, they're actually kind of fun to use both of them, especially tapping on this thing with that reverse pedal.
So why is it a sensitive drill press? Doesn't look very sensitive to me.
It's a sensitive drill has only hand feed.
Okay.
Yeah. The regular, otherwise they would have power feeds or whatever. So with the sensitive, you feel it, you sense it.
Ah.
At least that's how I understand it.
Okay. I always thought it was just for delicate work, but yeah, I learned something new.
Yeah, that's how it was explained to me. Is it's first you can feel what you're drilling.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we'll move on to the next machine.
Yeah, the one that you copied me on again.
My favorite machine. All right, Josh. This is the one here. Tell us about this guy.
Yeah, this is my newest machine. This is the Lion 23 by 80. It's a 23 MT is the model number. Bought it brand new in 22. So it's been an absolute amazing machine. I'm actually glad I bought this. In fact, the last time you were in the shop, I had the big Monarch.
Yes, and I'll post a photo of me standing next to that Monarch. That was quite a long time ago,
Yeah,
about 3 years ago.
That was a 25N Monarch lathe. I think I had a 100-inch center in that. But with the Lion here, I got a 4-inch spindle bore. So everything I do is it's either 4-inch or under for long stuff, and then you know the bigger stuff that I do is under 5 feet long. So it works out really well for me. The higher spindle speed, spindle reverse, and it's fully clutched. I do not like lathes that are not clutched. I absolutely hate it. Something I will not run anymore, and that's kind of why I sourced this lathe particularly. It was Lion was the only one that's made that has a clutch, other than one other brand that I won't own. New machines, I'm talking. So yeah, been very happy with this lathe. I do a lot of cool stuff with it. You've seen all my videos, and you've got a really cool, you picked up that 31-inch?
Yeah, so my machine is the 31.5/42 with the gap. You have a gap as well.
Yep.
But it is the older model and older series, the older style casting. So it is from 83, and it doesn't have the beautiful D camlock spindle and a couple of the newer features like the DRO, the coolant, all that stuff. But it does have a lot of the iconic Lion features like the joystick and the high build quality. And so I'm really excited to get mine up and going. When I bought mine, you guys know, it was in good shape. But as a crazy person as I am, I fully disassembled it and scraped it in. And so we're fully 100% restoring it and upgrading it. So yeah, I think this is one of my favorite machines that Josh has, not only because he influenced me directly to purchase one, but because we all love lathes, and it's very rare in a machine shop to buy a brand new machine because they are so expensive. And I remember when Josh bought this, how big of a deal it was, and it's a big risk, right? You're paying a lot of money for a machine, and it gets used a lot, but it's got to be worth it. And I think you can attest that now that you've had it for several years, it was an investment that was well worth it.
It paid for itself in about 8 months.
Wow.
I mean, absolutely paid for itself. It was the smart move because it allowed me to do work I couldn't do otherwise.
Don't tell my wife that, or I'll be buying another one.
Yeah. Now your lathe, and you do really cool stuff on your channel. I remember when you called me about your crossfeed screw.
Yes.
And what did I tell you?
You said just call Johnny and he'll sell you one.
Order one. Just order one. And
Yep.
he didn't listen to me.
I didn't listen.
He decided to make his own because,
That's true. I'm poorer than Josh.
Well, I'm poor too, but downtime costs money.
Yeah, that's true.
And $2,000 for a screw I thought was well worth it. But
it is.
You made all kinds of tooling and all kinds of fixtures. You made his follow rest for your one lathe.
Absolutely.
And cut the screw.
Yep.
I mean, he did all kinds of cool stuff on you did some amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's just awesome watching what you're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And if you guys are watching that restoration, not only do I like to bring something back to factory, I like to upgrade it at the same time. It takes a lot of extra time and work. But with my lathe is missing some of the features that Josh's lathe has, like a 2-speed tailstock, right? And we've added that to my lathe. We've added coolant pumps. We're adding a DRO. And so I'm hoping that when I'm done, although I have a lot of time and money invested, probably about 30 G's between the machine and the upgrades. I bought a $6,000 Dorian tool post, and but when it's done, I'm really hoping that I'm going to have a beautiful machine that really has a high build quality. And so,
did you guys hear that? He said he's poor. He couldn't afford a $2,000 screw, but then he buys a $6,000 tool
that is
post.
true. Priorities, I guess, right? To me, it's like if you buy tooling, the tooling is going to pay for itself because you can use it. And if I can make the screw, hey, I can spend that $2,000 on something else. So, but yeah.
Yep.
So it's a great machine. So what's your favorite part about this machine, Josh?
What do you like? Joystick control.
Joystick, okay.
It's just so simple, so smooth, and that spindle reverse and being all clutched.
Yep.
There's nothing about this machine that I really don't like. I mean, there's a few things that have, places for improvement.
Sure.
But otherwise, I can't complain.
And when I walked in, Josh was running this machine, and like I talk about, I'm a machinery rebuilding guy, so I'm looking at scraping and stuff. That's just kind of what I like. And when I walked in, he was running this machine, and I could tell right away this is a quality machine. It was quiet. The carriage on this thing and the apron is huge. When you look at photos online, which I've probably been on the Lion website like 100 times because I'm a psychopath, you just don't get the idea of like how well built something is until you see it in person. And when I saw this, I realized, wow, this is a really, really nicely made machine compared to some of those other Taiwanese and Chinese machines. It's subtle. You may not pick it up on video, but this machine is really built very, very well. And I'm happy to own a Lion, and I know Josh is as well.
Yeah, I wish I would have bought it sooner, honestly. Like 5 years sooner.
Yeah.
Back when prices were a little lower.
Yeah, that would have been a lot different 5 years ago, cost-wise.
Yeah. Now this machine is my Cincinnati #2 horizontal, and this has been another great asset in the shop. I use the snot out of this thing, and more so since I added the digital readout, and sitting right there on the floor is the vertical milling attachment as well. So definitely been a handy machine. I just finished up a couple jobs on this. Can't remember what we did last. It's already out the door. There's been so much going on here that it's hard to keep track. I mean, right now I've got a couple of jobs sitting up here that I just finished up. This is a hydraulic cylinder head that I just finished that up for the Minnesota State Fair, so that's got to go out tomorrow, get delivered. But yeah, I wish I knew what that job was. Oh, keyways. I cut some keyways, horizontally milled them.
Oh, wow.
So the chips would fall out, and there's a full video on that.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, coming up, I don't know when, but well, probably by the time this video comes out, it'll be behind us.
Okay. It's always how it goes.
Yeah, who knows where these videos land. So yeah, that's a video I worked on, and so milling keyways horizontally. It's a 50 taper machine, been a great asset. I built the riser base for it, so it was comfortable working height as a horizontal, and as a vertical, well, not so much. Now it's too high for some stuff. It's too low before and too high now. I don't know. Depends on what you're doing.
You can never win.
Yeah. Just sucks to can't adjust our height as we need.
Right. Can you fit a forklift under that base?
Yeah, you could.
Because I know, not that you have to move it very often, but you know, making this move a little bit easier with that base seems like that could be a nice benefit there.
Yeah, no, it's easier to get the jacks and everything under it and the skates if need be. It's just easier all around.
That's awesome.
But definitely having that base really improved the machine all around. I mean, it's very stable, surprisingly.
Yeah, this base is heavy duty, guys. I know I watched it being built, but in person, this thing it's chunky. It's way overbuilt.
Yeah, they were heavy. Each one of these legs was, I'd like to say it was 150 pounds.
Wow.
So, I mean, they're heavy. It ain't going anywhere, that's for sure.
That's good. You want your machine stable.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, looks like we got some old Bridgeports here.
Yeah, I've got two of them here. This one I rescued from the local high school. They were going to scrap it. They had tipped it over and busted the screw on the table.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually was able to fix it. And it still holds tight tolerance. It's actually a very tight machine.
Really?
But I am selling this one to my friend Randy.
Okay.
So, if some of you remember, I did a video. We did was it the 100,000 subscriber giveaway?
Maybe.
I think so, when Randy came in. Randy is getting this mill. It's going to be leaving in the next few months somewhere, whenever he has time. But we're going to move the digital readout from this mill to this one for him. And then I've got a brand new 3-axis machine DRO readout coming for this mill. So then this mill will get moved over. We're actually going to move the planer right here.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So making room, moving equipment around.
Okay.
So it's actually going to be selling 3 pieces of equipment this year.
That's
Getting rid
big.
of just stuff I don't need.
Yeah, that's great.
So with business is always changing. You know?
You got to be agile and willing to change.
Yeah.
Now I notice your machines, they got belts. I don't know what that is because my machine is variable speed.
Yeah, I won't own a variable mill. Well, can't say that. I guess if I have to, I will.
Yeah, I know you really like these pulley machines, probably because they're a little bit more reliable, I'm guessing.
Yeah, very reliable. They don't fail. I've actually wound up fixing more of the variable speed machines than I want to. They do wear pretty quickly. I think 5 years is a good lifespan on a bushing and them things.
Wow.
Then they'll start rattling and shaking and
Yeah, they can get noisy.
yeah, there's a bushing up in there. One little bushing, it's $1.
Yeah, that
$1.30 or
plastic
something.
bushing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of a bad design, but now if you find an old Gorton, those are good.
Those are beefy, huh?
Yeah, those are a lot better for a variable machine.
I'll have to keep my eye out for that. Now, one thing I hear a lot about Bridgeports, I love Bridgeports, you love Bridgeports, but people say all the time they're not rigid, they're really not good for heavy work. Is that true?
No, that's not true at all. In fact, I've been in shops before where they're pushing these things so hard, they're damn near stalling them out. They're piling sandbags on the base to take the vibration out.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that's the problem with these things. They're not heavy enough.
Right. Yep.
To take a good cut. You can take the same cut as I could on that Cincinnati. It's just this thing's going to make all kinds of noise.
Sure. Okay.
Throw some mass on it. Bags of sand down in the base, they'll quiet them right down.
Yeah, I've seen some people actually taking the top off and filling that column with concrete.
Oh yeah, that'll do it too.
Okay.
I don't
cool.
know that I would do that. It'd be a little. Well, I bet it'd work good.
Yeah, I bet
Be
it
heavy.
would. Yeah, it'd be very heavy. Yeah, maybe
But
it's
that
what
would
you
take
want.
care of it. They're not as flimsy as people think.
Yeah, they're very well made machines. Everyone copied these machines.
Yep.
That's why you see a lot of clones nowadays.
Yeah, there's a lot of mills out there that just the same thing.
Yeah, and they're easy to rebuild and work on, which is good. You
Yeah.
get parts availability is great. I know I really like the Series 2, but you shouldn't really buy that machine. I know that because the parts availability is terrible. I got a buddy that works for a machine rebuilder, and he says they have one that's been in there for months because they can't get parts. Not the case with these Bridgeports, just because the parts availability is great, and that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was kind of the whole reason to go in with the Lion, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Parts availability. Yeah, well, that's all my machines.
Yeah.
You know? Monarch, Lucas, and Carlton
Yep,
are all owned by Lucas Precision, and parts are available.
they are available.
They're not cheap, but they're available.
They are available. Yeah, they are not cheap. I can verify that, but they
Yeah.
are available.
Should we move on to the
Yeah, let's take a look at the next
last
machine.
of the machines?
Yep. Well, Josh, we got two machines here.
Yeah.
One sad machine and one working machine.
Yeah, well, there's something else missing.
Oh, yeah. Right where I'm standing, huh?
Yeah, the little Monarch is gone.
The baby Monarch.
I sold that to your, well, what, I don't know how we do this, the date that you're here or however, but, well, I sold it about a month ago, and today is, what, the 24th of August?
Something like that.
Something like that. I sold it about a month ago, and, you know, I don't regret it. I was experimenting on the 18-inch Monarch to see if I could do all that work, and everything I was doing on the 12-inch Monarch I could do on the 18 or the Lion, so why keep it around? Make some room, free up some space, and that's also going to be happening here with the shaper. This is a Worcester shaper. It's a Niles, Bennett, and Pond, actually, but the Worcester name on it. There's not a lot of information on this machine, but it is in excellent shape, and one of my viewers is actually going to be buying it. He's going to be coming hopefully in the next month or so
Okay.
and bringing it back home to New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when he did the research and found out where it was built, he had to have it. So I bought this because I had bought the slaughter, the vertical shaper, and that was during the time of the George Floyd crap. So all the riots in Minneapolis, well, that's where it was. So the guy who had it, the estate, he says like, yeah, don't bother coming.
Yeah.
Probably get shot
Yeah.
or burned to death or something, you know. So
Sure.
it's like, okay, we left it there. And then I went and found this. And trying to get this together and working quick enough to do the big keyway jobs.
Sure.
Well, then things eased up and I ran over and got that right away and just never got back to this.
Okay.
But this was a project that I really wanted to do, but I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
I need running equipment.
There is no one that understands that more than me because I also have a shaper that's sitting, and it's been sitting for a long time, that I bought with the same intention to do slotting jobs. And so far, its demise isn't certain, but I'm definitely contemplating it. So I get that.
I would love to have a fully functioning shaper because I have a use for it.
Okay.
You know, anybody who says you can't make money with a shaper doesn't know how to use one.
Yeah.
There's so many applications where they are completely the perfect machine. You know, I could list them off, but I don't need to give away ideas. Wait for the videos.
There you go.
So someday I might get a shaper that's all ready to go, but at
Yeah.
this point I don't know.
And is this a line shaft machine or was?
It was, yeah. Yeah, I put that motor on there, and it had a 1-horse, 110-volt motor and a 3-speed Brownie gearbox.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was weird. The guy that had it was a gunsmith.
Okay.
He had died like, I think it was 10 years ago, so it sat in the garage and never got used. But he was making rifle actions with it.
Okay. Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So it was working at one point.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's a fully functional machine. It just needs a little bit of cleanup and time.
Sure,
You
yeah.
know, it's a little more wiring because I put a VFD on it.
Sure.
I was going to do it all that way. It just, I don't have time to work on it.
Yeah, some of this stuff, it's not rocket science. It just, you got to put the time in to polish stuff up and make sure everything works. And, you know, sometimes you got paying jobs in your own projects that are higher on the totem pole, and
Yep.
that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I don't need it now with the slaughter, so it can go to a new home.
Yeah. Great. Well, tell us a little bit about this baby.
My 18-inch Monarch, my 18 by 48. This I actually bought off a friend of mine. This would be the third lathe I ever bought for the shop.
Okay. So how long have you owned this?
Oh, God. Got to be close to 10 years now.
Wow. Okay.
I started the business in 2012, May of 2012, with the little Monarch, the Cincinnati horizontal, and the one Bridgeport, and a Warner Swayze #2 turret lathe.
Okay.
And within the first couple of years, I realized that that little lathe was not big enough, the little Monarch. And then Bob had this in his, he had it in his shop, but he had closed his shop and it was in a storage garage. And so him and I put together a deal and I bought it off of him, and I've been very happy with it. This is a very tight machine.
So I bet this machine is the one machine that's probably made you the most amount of money over the longest time since you've had it the longest.
Yep. This has been, this is the bread and butter of the shop, or was until I got the Lion.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, between this and the Bridgeport, you know, that was where most of the work was in the early days.
Sure.
Now the work is spread out all over. I mean, really. I mean, the boring mill, the Lion, the slaughter, the planer. The planer does a lot of work.
Yeah.
I honestly don't do a whole lot of stuff on the Bridgeport as much as I used to.
Sure.
You know, small stuff here and there, keyway, whatever, but not a lot. So.
Well, let me ask you a question, because you're well suited to answer this. You got a brand new Lion, very expensive, and an old lathe. So as someone who's maybe looking to get a machine, old lathe versus new lathe, what would you say?
Get a Monarch.
Okay.
If you got the money, get the Lion.
Okay.
These are the only two machines I own.
Okay, well there you have it.
The old gearhead Monarchs or a brand new Lion.
Okay. All right.
And I've run a lot of different lathes, and I would avoid the 10EE Monarch.
Oh, that's one thing me and Josh have in common is we're both against the 10EEs.
I got a lot of years on a 10EE, and there's a lot of things that I would do on this thing that I couldn't do on that.
Sure.
They're a nice machine for their size, but they just aren't. They're not there. Not what I need.
Right. Yeah, they're great for hobby work and for small stuff, but most of the paying jobs out there,
they're a great tool room machine.
Right.
For precision, you know, tool making and for medical devices and stuff. They're not a good hobby machine, honestly.
Yeah, true.
Just too
because of
much
all
for
the
a hobby machine.
yeah, exactly. The weight and the electronic complications and
Yeah, but if you get yourself an old gearhead Monarch, one of these C series, you can't go wrong. That 12CK I had, it's a great size for a hobby machine. You know, even the older A's and the B's, they're great machines too.
yeah.
Stay away from the 60 series, any of the newer stuff with all the electronics. They're just not worth having.
That's great. All right, well, what do we got next?
Well, you want to go check out the weld shop?
Yeah, let's check it
Got the
out.
sawmill I built,
Yeah, let's take a look at
the
it.
dragline crane, the steam engine. I got a lot of stuff.
It's gonna be a long video, guys. Buckle up.
So I got to point this out before we go outside. There's two projects, personal projects. They're not shop projects, but they are going to be upcoming videos on my channel at some point. I don't know when. I just too many jobs in the way. This one is one I was actually working on when Kyle walked in. This is one of the idler wheels for the track on the dragline crane. It is actually cracked at every spoke. I'm going to repair that. And then I made all new Nylotron bushings to replace the bronze that was wore out. And then over here is the cylinder off of my Baker steam tractor. So traction engine, actually. Traction engine is steam, tractor is a gas tractor usually. So that's how that's done. But this is the cylinder, a 9.25 inch bore. And it's a little bit egg-shaped. So I'm going to take that out with the boring mill, and then I'm going to run it down to my partner shop in the cities, and they're going to hone it for me. And then I got to make a new piston. I got to order rings. I got a company that's going to make rings that are, I'm going to try to go with the ones that have a bronze inlay. So if you run out of lubrication, don't eat the cylinder. Got to make a new piston rod, new valve rod. There's a bunch of stuff going on with the steam engine. So getting this all squared away is going to cure my problems because I had no rings left, and then, yeah, there was just no power.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, so that'll be good. Get it up on the boring mill and bore that. Get this project done. I'm trying to get this dragline done before winter, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, Josh, what do we got in here?
So this is the weld shop. A lot going on here. We got the Johnson saw.
Is that your dirty Johnson again?
Yeah, keep your hands off my dirty Johnson. And actually, you guys see the welding going on back here. This is Connor. This is, he's through the youth apprenticeship program through the high school. I'm actually working with 2 boys, but Connor graduated, and he is actually leaving me in October. October 8th is his last day. He is going to the Army National Guard basic training, and then out for his training for his MOS after that, and then hopefully he'll come back. He's been a good kid. Definitely learned a lot, but he's actually hard-facing chipper knives for a big wood chipper. So we are rebuilding these chipper knives. This is something we haven't filmed, but we got both welders set up on this, one with hard facing and one with regular wire to do fix the big holes.
Okay.
In case, you know, if a wrench goes through the chipper, it happens. So yeah, he's doing that. But yeah, we got all the, you know, this is basically just the weld shop. Gantry crane I built here in the shop. There's videos of that.
What tonnage is this, gantry?
It's got 2-ton hoists on it.
Okay.
But it's calculated out to 8.5 ton for the beam.
Okay, great.
Yeah, when we built it, I over-designed it because
Sure.
I wanted to make sure it wouldn't fail.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got press brake over there. I got a grob bandsaw, an iron worker, hydraulic press, and actually the sandblasting cabinet is going away.
Okay, you're getting
And that
rid of
is where I'm going to park the new
Tumbler?
Tumbler.
Okay.
That's outside yet. I got to build the base for that. So
Okay.
that's what's here.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I know people want to see that sawmill.
All right, let's head out there. All right, well, we're out here in the absolute miserable, humid, nasty, gross. I want to go back to the air conditioning.
Yeah, it sucks out here, guys. It's like, you know, probably 90, 95 out here.
Yeah, and probably a 95, 120% humidity,
Yeah,
something like that. It's gross, yeah.
We'll need a shower here just from doing this segment.
Yeah, but this is the sawmill I built entirely in the shop. Everything except the blade. The blade I purchased from Menominee Saw and Supply in Menominee, Michigan, but everything else I built here in the shop. It's all basically out of scrap. I bought off of another shop, just all drops.
Wow. This is impressive, guys. I mean, this thing is massive. So what is the cutting depth on this sawmill?
I believe I can cut 26 inches clear.
Wow. That's crazy.
So we generally see 30-inch logs, and if you check some of my older videos, there's quite a few sawmill videos. We didn't get any this year yet. It's just been too busy. My partner I saw with, he's my neighbor. Him and I do this together, and we just both have been just too busy to saw.
Okay.
You know, the goal this year was to get up a shed, build a shed over the mill, just basically from where you're standing to the outfeed end.
Yep.
And enough to put, you know, something in for the winter, a tractor or something.
Sure.
And probably another 6-8 feet over. But it's not happening. We just can't get there time-wise.
That's what these telephone poles are for?
Yeah, all the used power poles.
Okay.
The local power company gave me those to build the shed, and actually I bought off of my friend's widow. I bought his shingle mill, so we are actually going to saw wooden shingles for the roof for this.
Interesting, very cool.
Yeah, we're going to actually do it out of jack pine because we have an abundance of jack pine here. It's similar to southern yellow pine.
Okay.
So it should work for shingles, and if it doesn't, well, then we just saw more in a couple of years.
Yeah, that's excellent. So it looks like maybe the logs roll in on these I-beams and then drop on?
Yep, so we stack the logs on the skidway here. The carriage moves back and forth across the blade.
Okay.
And we roll up the log, set it in with the dogs, and feed her across the blade. And then on the outfeed end, we got the roller table. And this is where Carl catches all the lumber and sorts out the boards and the slab wood. So.
And do you guys do this for like as a business, or is it a hobby more?
More a hobby, really.
Okay. Like would people come say, hey, I got a bunch of logs, could you saw them for me, or not really?
We generally don't do that because a lot of the stuff people want to have you saw is stuff they took out of their yard, and I can't trust there's not nails or screws in it. And when a blade costs over $3,000, I'm not going to chance it.
Yep.
And these are all inserted tooth blades.
Yeah, it looks like a really, really nice blade. Now, how accurate is this, like, you know, thickness-wise?
We sawed some 20-foot 2x8s last year.
Okay.
And I was within a 64th end to end.
Oh, wow, that's super accurate for wood, you know.
This thing cuts just absolutely beautifully. And it's fast. I generally feed about 100 feet a minute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the return I've got set up about 200. So the return of the carriage past the blade with no cut, I got about 200 feet a minute.
Okay.
And then feeding, I'm in the 80 to 100 feet a minute.
Now, danger level wise, is this the most dangerous piece of equipment you have, you would say?
Oh, this ain't dangerous at all.
Okay.
Don't get anywhere near the blade. That's the misconception. People think these things are dangerous. They're not. Stay away from the blade. And if you set it up right, so when you pull the lever away from the blade to advance the carriage into the blade.
Oh, okay.
So if you get caught on a piece of wood going towards the blade, you bump into the lever and reverse
it.
Kicks you back up.
Interesting.
Too many people set up their mills backwards.
Okay, so that pulls them into the machine if they get jammed.
You get caught on a log going by and on a piece of bark or a little stick sticking off, and then now you're advancing it further because you're backwards.
Ah, okay.
That'll kill people fast.
Wow. This is an amazing, it's very large.
Yeah, I got 48 feet of track. We can currently saw about 24-foot long boards.
Wow.
20 is the longest I've done, but 24 we can handle.
And did you do plans on this, or you just built it as you went?
Built it as I went, all in my head.
Okay.
There's no plans for it.
Okay.
A lot of redesigns as I went. Basically, I owned 3 mills before this one.
Okay.
And I didn't like anything about any of them.
Okay.
So I kind of took the best designs of all 3.
And what does it take to get this thing going? Like the way I see it now, you know, I don't have the idea that you're just going to come out here and turn it on, right? I would think you got to kind of work with it. How long does it take to kind of commit to getting it running?
Start the tractor, back it up, hook the PTO up, spin it up to speed, let it run for a couple minutes, warm up the hydraulics.
Okay.
And start feeding.
So it's really just a pretty quick process basically to get going.
About 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
10 to 15 minutes and we're sawing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And we're doing, Carl and I'll saw for an hour to 2 hours a night when we do saw. We do it after work, and we'll do anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 board feet.
Oh, wow.
A night in 1 or 2 hours.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, and that's not even pushing it. We're not really trying.
Yeah.
We're just doing it for fun. And, we're sawing lumber for, his plan is to build a house. And I actually hold a Wisconsin local use lumber, dimensional lumber grading certificate.
Okay.
So I can grade lumber for residential construction.
Wow.
Rough sawn lumber.
Sure.
So I hold that, so when he builds his house, we just do up a grade report,
okay.
do all the, grade all the lumber, do a report, and it stays with the home.
And what kind of wood is mostly around here? Is it pine or?
Mostly pine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
we got
cool.
some poplar, aspen, but yeah, mostly big Norway red pine.
Okay.
That's what we pretty much saw as the red pine Norway.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I do saw some white oak as well. I have my parents own 67 acres about 50 miles from here, and it's beautiful hardwoods. So
okay.
I'll truck up some white oak when I need it, or
sure.
I'd really like to saw some of the black ash they have.
And how long did these blades last before you got to change out the inserts?
I changed the inserts one time, and that's when I hit a nail.
Okay, so they last a very long time.
Yeah, they last a very long time. These are hard chrome coated. I've looked into the carbide ones, but the chrome is holding up really well, and the carbide's like 3 times the cost, so
okay.
I'll stick with the chrome.
Okay, very cool.
You know, I should have sharpened them the last time. I just changed them out, but sharpening them, you can sharpen them a lot.
Is that something you do, or you take the blade and they change them out for you?
No, I change them out. I have a grinder here that clamps on and sets the angles. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, I've got 2 grinders actually. One of my viewers gave me, and another one the neighbor gave me when he got rid of his mill.
Very cool. All right. Well, I think we're going to move on to what everyone wants to see. That's a dragline.
Oh, you want to see the dragline?
Let's see the dragline.
I wish it was ready to use.
I wish it was.
I'm tired of working on it.
All right, Josh, as a city boy, I don't know that I've ever seen one of these. What are we looking at right here?
Oh, this is a early excavator. It's really what it is.
Okay.
The hydraulic excavators, the hose you see nowadays are what replaced this. Quite honestly, because people aren't as smart nowadays. It takes a lot of focus and a lot of thought to run one of these things. These cable excavators formed this country.
Okay.
In fact, they still use them. Caterpillar still makes cable excavators.
Really?
Very big ones, like 40-yard buckets.
Oh, wow.
This is a little 3/8 yard bucket.
Okay.
This crane is actually a 5-ton and 3/8 yard excavator is what it is. And it is a track machine. The tracks are off right now because we rebuilt those. I'm rebuilding that wheel that you saw in the shop there. I've already done the sprockets on the drive there up underneath.
Okay.
The small sprockets. Yep. There's a video on that. That was a job and a half.
Yeah,
so
I bet.
We're really tearing into this thing a lot further than I wanted to, but I kind of think that spending all this time fixing the undercarriage is where I need to put my focus.
Sure.
Because that's the part that takes the most abuse.
Yep.
The motor is a F186 Continental, and that thing runs like a Swiss watch, like 0 blow-by. I've never seen an old motor that tight.
Okay.
I mean, it's just so smooth, so clean.
Is that a turbo diesel or just?
No, it's gas.
Oh, it's a gas motor. Wow.
48 horse.
Wow.
That's it. And yeah, it runs great.
I assume it was diesel. Most of these are diesel.
No, this is a Bantam C35.
Okay.
A lot of these were truck mounted. The T35 was truck mounted.
Okay.
On like a World War II 6x6.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
This one would be probably mid 50s.
Okay.
As a crawler crane, but the trucks were the first ones they built in Waverly, Iowa.
Okay. Wow.
And they built a lot of these. They're a really neat little machine, but it takes 3 hands to run it and 2 feet.
Yeah, I bet.
And I don't know what I'm going to do for a third hand. I haven't figured that out yet. But,
what does this weigh, roughly?
I think it's right around 15,000.
Okay.
It's not that heavy. It does have the accessory counterweights on it, so that does help. I think the counterweights are like 2,000 or 1,500 pounds, something like that.
Okay. And you got this with your truck here?
No, I had a friend of mine haul it on his lowboy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it backed up to the gooseneck on the lowboy. The end of the boom hung off the end of the trailer this far.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
What an excellent piece of equipment.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun when I get her done because I got a pond to dig.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, well, should we head back into the shop where the AC is?
Yeah, it's awful out here. Well, actually, you know, we should probably do the steam engine.
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at that.
So this is kind of my pride and joy. This is my 1917 A.D. Baker 2175. So, and actually what this is not a true 2175. This is a 20 horse, I believe, or 18 horse. How did that go? This is an earlier engine on a late boiler. So the earlier engines were lower pressure. This boiler is a 1922 boiler. So it actually is 180 PSI.
Ah.
So that high pressure gets me up to the new designations of the 2175. So it becomes a 21 horse boiler, 75 horse on the belt. And don't quote me on this because this is how I understand it. I've read a lot of stuff. I might be wrong. I'm not an expert. I just pretend to be. But it's in really good shape. This boiler is, I have 180 PSI with the state of Wisconsin. This is a certified boiler, fully inspected. And right now, the cylinder is in the shop for boring, got to do the piston, all that stuff. But Once that's done, this engine's ready to go to work, and it'll be belted up to the sawmill.
Oh, wow.
That's
That'll be cool.
the whole reason I bought it was to run the sawmill with it because of all the wasted slab. You know,
Yeah.
all that slab wood coming off is free fuel.
That's awesome.
You know, no better way to run a sawmill, you know.
And with a sawmill.
Yeah. Yeah, feeding it off of itself.
It's like the lathe of woodworking. Can build itself.
Yeah,
Can
pretty
run
much.
itself.
Yeah.
Very cool. This thing is massive.
Yeah,
What do you
it's
think the weight of this is?
It's right around 24,000 empty.
Okay.
Holds about 250 gallons of water
Okay.
in the boiler. Another 175 in the water tanks. And then the coal boxes are small, but it can hold quite a bit in the coal boxes too. And then I got a water wagon I built to go with it.
Oh, wow.
So another 300 gallons of water, and then the wood box on that will hold a lot of firewood.
So what is the interval between refills on this? So once you're full of coal and you got plenty of water, how long can you run it?
Depends on how you're working them.
Okay.
You know, generally, when you're sawing, you're working hard, and you're always adding water.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, water. And I haven't spent much time at this high pressure. High pressure is dryer steam. I've usually run 120 and less PSI, and that's wet steam, saturated. So you see a lot more carryover. So this should be a little more economical, I'm guessing.
Okay.
But yeah, I've spent a lot of time on other engines of lower pressure. So it'll be fun to run at high pressure for a while.
Yeah, that'll be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, thanks for sharing. This thing is awesome.
Yeah, it's in great shape, other than the cylinder. All right, should we get out of the humidity?
Yeah, let's get inside.
All right, we're back in the air conditioning. God, that feels good. Oh, God, it was miserable out there.
It's cool in here, let me tell you.
I keep it about 68,
Oh, it's so nice.
which is tool room temperature.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yep, you got to keep it. I have air conditioning in my shop as well, and you really do need to have that in a machine shop.
Yeah, it keeps things from rusting, but 68 is the equilibrium temperature for a tool room.
For measuring,
Yep, measuring tools, everything. That's where you want to be.
Absolutely.
So Kyle's got a bunch of questions for me, for my viewers, and I've got questions for him, for his viewers. So you want to see all these answers, you're going to have to watch both videos
That's true.
on both channels.
That's true.
So fire away.
All right, so first question I got, and some of these we may have already answered, so if we did, we'll just kind of skip through.
Yeah.
Which machine makes you the most money?
The Lion lathe right now. Yeah. That's the bread and butter of the shop.
Okay. And this kind of goes along with that, but let's say you were starting out, and I know you're not going to do this, but if
Start over now.
start over. But if someone came in and a tornado wrecked this whole shop, and you know what you know now, and insurance wrote you a check, which 5 machines would you start with?
Lion, the Cincinnati horizontal, the slaughter, the boring mill, and then, well, the planer, really. The planer is kind of essential.
Wow. I'm kind of surprised by that, honestly. I mean, I think what I'm surprised about that is you have a couple machines in there that are pretty unique, right? The planer, the slaughter. I mean, those machines obviously do good work, but when most people would answer that question, they probably wouldn't put those machines in there. So,
Yeah, it's the specialized machines that are actually the most profitable.
really? Because there's no competition, I'm assuming?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Nobody else can do it.
So when someone needs something milled that's 8 foot long, they don't really have any options.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or precision drilling over a length that long.
Really?
Because I can drill with this also.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and you have the quill on there, yep?
Yep. Yeah, it's just a Series
Standard
1
Bridgeport.
J-head Bridgeport.
Okay. Wow, very cool. So what is your favorite repeat job or a job that you do a lot that you enjoy?
I don't know. I kind of like all of them.
Okay.
Most of my jobs are, they're interesting in their own way, but the customers are what make the job really good and enjoyable.
Okay.
You know, I've got some really amazing customers I work with. I've got some really high stress jobs that I do enjoy those too. You know,
Okay.
it just feels good when they're done. You
Yeah.
know, and you're doing it for a customer that has no other option. So
Yeah.
I really don't have a favorite job.
Okay. All right.
I kind of like them all. I like dealing with the customer and helping them out.
Okay. Okay. Now I know we talked about machinery. There's probably some machines that you regret buying over the years. Is there anything that comes to mind that you bought and then you sold because you didn't use, or you really wish you wouldn't have bought, or you thought was good and it wasn't?
Well, the shaper,
Okay.
you know, just because I never got it going.
Okay.
Surface grinder.
Yeah, me too.
I had a surface grinder, and I never turned the thing on in 10 years,
Okay. Yeah.
and just never had a need.
Yep.
And you know, honestly, there's other shops out there that have surface grinders that are willing to do the work if there's a need for it.
Sure,
And they're
sure.
reasonable.
Yeah.
So why have the equipment, the tooling, the investment in the real estate alone, the floor space?
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I don't have the floor space, so I sold it at auction. I got $27 for it, and the guy never come to get it. And a year later, I loaded it on my truck and hauled it in for scrap and got another 40 bucks for it. So
Wow.
that was a good. I was so happy to, get $27 and then another 40 bucks a year later. So I mean, you know,
Oh man.
yeah, surface grinder definitely. I have no need for one.
Okay. I definitely agree with that. Okay. Let's see. You know, I know there's some things you like and some things you hate. I know that you don't really like computers. Can you talk a little bit more about that? In terms of CNC, in terms of just anything computer related, why you're more manual focused?
I just get so frustrated with computers. I don't like technology. I really don't. I mean, even the video editing is pushing it for me. You know, the smartphones, all that crap. Some of the technology is nice. I like some of it, but I worked with CNC. I learned it. It's boring to me. It's absolutely boring.
Right.
I'd rather drill holes, and I don't like drilling holes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the worst job in the whole shop is drilling holes.
Drilling holes.
Yeah, so I would rather do that than be around CNC.
Okay.
And quite honestly, there's enough shops out there that are hurting for work that'll take that stuff on. I can farm it out and make a couple bucks that way.
Sure.
I just don't need it. I don't want it.
How often does that happen where someone says, hey, do this job and it's CNC, and you say, hey, we'll do it and we'll send it over there, they'll do it, and then I'll do it?
It happens. In the last year, not a lot, but in previous years, I would send out 5 to 10%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then them shops that I send it out to also send me a ton of stuff.
Really?
So it's a mutual thing. You know, it's really the 30% of my customer base right now is CNC shops.
Really? Wow.
I'm doing second op or stuff they can't do. So
Sure. Wow.
I don't have a need for CNC, none whatsoever.
Okay.
I can, send it to them, and they're sending me plenty of stuff. So
That's good to know. So if you had to put like a label on what industry you service, or what type of work you do mostly, how would you sort of label that?
oh boy, I'd say about 30% of my business is wood products, the wood industry,
Okay.
which is big here. It used to be a lot more than that. There's probably another 30% in power transmission.
Okay.
I do a lot of work for a company that does a lot of clutches, brakes, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
A couple of companies deal with that, actually. Then there's a portion of it that the business that is, it's the word I'm looking for, tool and die.
Oh, okay.
I do a lot of second op stuff for tool and die places. So
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of all over the place. A lot, most of the work is repair, but there's a lot of, it's kind of all over the board now.
Okay.
Things really shifted in this region, with a lot of businesses closing and going away.
So a couple more questions about business specifically. What do you think the hardest part about running a small business is for anyone who's like thinking about getting into this?
don't do it. I'll just say that to start with. The hardest part is finding the customers, especially in this business. You know, it's so cutthroat. You got to be specialized and established. You know, it's taken me a long time to get to where I am.
Okay.
So the hardest part was getting to where I am now.
And when you say a long time, just throw out a number. How many years would you say it takes to get established in the machine shop field?
You know, in my region, that took 10 years.
Okay.
You know, I struggled for 10 years and I'm just too stupid to give up.
Sure.
But now I'm sitting with, you know, my mortgage is paid off, you know, everything's paid off. Vehicles, machines, everything.
Sure.
So now I'm sitting good and, you know, there's good steady revenue coming in. But,
Okay.
you know, it took 10 years to get to that point.
Okay, just don't tell my wife that.
You're in a better location.
I am in a better location. There's pros and cons with where I am. And then where do you see yourself in 10 years with this business?
Retired on a beach? I don't know. I don't foresee it growing much past this.
Okay.
You know, do me and the high school apprenticeship program. You know,
Okay.
one or two kids. I really don't want to. I don't really care to grow it any further. There's
Okay.
too much government interference at that point.
So you would say, you know, basically as long as you can maintain what you're doing now, you'd be happy.
Yep. As long as I can pay bills and put money into retirement and you
Okay.
know, I'm healthy enough to keep playing with my cool toys, you know, steam engine, dragline, you know, sawmill.
Fair enough.
I don't care. I like what I do. That's, you know,
That's
just
good.
keep doing what I'm doing.
How long does it take you to edit a video typically?
Depends on the video. Anywhere from 2 to 6 hours.
Okay. Okay. And how do you normally structure that? Do you normally do it like a certain day of the week, or is it like you film a bunch and then you like take 2 days and then try to edit all those, or is it all over the place? Or
Lately with my workload, I've been doing filming as I go, and then when I know I need to get a video out, I'll just knock it out.
Okay.
But I still have, like, as of right now, I've got like 5 videos in the works.
Sure. Yep.
And 1 uploaded for next Saturday.
Okay.
So, and I still need to do a follow-up video for the video that came out yesterday.
For Wednesday.
Yeah, for Wednesday. So I still have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I-
it's just basically when it needs to be done, it's like, hey, I gotta make sure I get it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because right now, you showed up, I was doing a video, filming one,
Yep.
working on a project, which will probably take a few days or a week to finish this project because it's a personal one.
Yep.
I need to do my follow-up video yet, and tomorrow I'm going to film a off location to help out with an estate sale,
Okay.
a very interesting estate sale. So we're going to film that.
I might know a little bit about that too.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll have some on your channel.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions that I have for you.
Okay.
So yeah, let's see what you got ready for me.
Oh, well,
I want to take a break. We can take a break too.
yeah, we'll have to take a break because if you guys want to see his questions, you'll have to go to his channel and watch them.
Absolutely.
So head on over to Vanover Customs. I'll have a link in the description for Kyle's channel here, and check out his stuff. I mean, he does some pretty awesome work.
Appreciate that.
Definitely. I mean, you act like you're single, honestly.
I am a workaholic and I'm crazy.
Yeah, you don't work like you're married, you know.
My wife is gold, guys.
So
There you
head
go.
on over to Kyle's channel and check out his stuff and the answers to the questions I'm going to ask him. And with that, till the next video, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.